1% of all Americans are homeless.
Although this number may appear insignificant, it adds up to about 3.5 million living without a steady residence.
They're just a fascinating people, and it's a shame that society has put their nose up in the air and have left them out there. I'm not a liberal, but there's something wrong with the system, and if you ever want an education, go down and give them a bite to eat. I go every night in my truck, and I either buy them coffee or hot chocolate. I take food with me and I pass it out to them. Very few of them that's really homeless will ask you for any money. And there are people down there that take advantage and act like they're blind or act like they're homeless and everything, and wave their cups, and that's how they make a living, and it makes it hard on the homeless. But they are a fascinating people.
This number varies from night to night due to the three most common types of homelessness. The first category of homelessness that many suffer from is living on the streets or even in vehicles, adding up to 50% of the homeless population. Many people also seek help from the various shelters across the city. Roughly 34% of all homeless people in America find a place to stay through their family and close friends.
A typical American is often uneducated about the homeless population and unsympathetic to their plight.
Homelessness may be linked to a variety of causes,
the bulk of which are defined by jobless, criminal history, family issues, substance abuse, mental health problems, and trauma. A single root of the problem will never be identified, for among each victim there is a group of circumstances, harsh and personal, that set him away from all others.
The only reason I'm homeless right now is because I did something bad and me and my wife broke up. You know, I'm separated right now, and she's living in a different county, and I came here because this is the place I know.
Crystal methamphetamine. Crystal meth made me homeless. Yeah, my family pretty much kicked me out, alienated me, and didn't want nothing to do with me. They didn't want to try to help me or anything, and pretty much out on my own.
Here, but my goal was to come to Indianapolis and find me a job, you know what I'm saying, and get back on my feet once again, because I had something to start with. I had a couple of dollars, a phone and everything. But when I got here, it all went downhill because of the drinking once again. So, you know, the nightmare just continue while I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I adjust.
1 out of 50 kids in the U.S. experiences homelessness.
Several factors feed into this, such as bad upbringing and traumatic events during childhood.
When they go to enroll in school, these homeless children do not have the correct papers and are therefore unable to attend. Several efforts are making a difference, such as the Outreach Indiana organization and the McKinley-Vento Act. This has set up a homeless liaison that helps these kids get an education.
Students, I've found that students are mostly affected by homelessness in the way that they struggle with getting to school regularly. I see a lot of attendance problems with students who are homeless because they struggle with getting to school. So we have to make sure we work with transportation to make sure they can get to school on a regular basis. We have to set up, our transportation department has to set up special buses and go get kids wherever they are, because they have a right to continue to attend what's called their home school. Another thing that happens is financially, families that are homeless, they struggle with being able to pay for everyday stuff like school lunches and textbooks, and so that becomes a problem, and there are resources available for that as well. And then there's that consistency piece. I think that kids who are homeless struggle because there's not a lot of consistency in their life, and many of them are what we call couch surfing and going from one friend to another friend or house to house, and they just don't have that in their lives, and so you can imagine it'd be really hard to continue to stay up to date and on target for classes.
But I'm also on probation, but I have to have a physical address, so that's another reason I'm here, is because I have to have this physical address or I get to get locked up.
Homeless people have been known to commit crimes such as theft or drug abuse, but it's believed this is only because of their environment.
Finds with on-hand weapons are the most violent crimes that occur between homes.
Homeless people not only commit crimes, but there are crimes committed against them.
These popular hate crimes are increasing, however, they are rarely reported.
Question 2, what are some hate crimes committed against homeless people? It's kind of a wide category, but just a few of them are theft, robbery, battery, murder, and extortion are the typical crimes that we see with homeless people.
¿Si ha tenido experiencias?
Con gente que te hace malas cosas, te trata mal.
Las he tenido. Ha habido intentos de muerte, me han tirado balazos, me han puesto una navaja en el cuello, pero gracias a Dios no ha pasado.
It's actually quite common between these categories of homeless people, just because they have no fear of justice, they have no fear of law enforcement. Basically, all they're trying to do is get what they can get as far as resources go, and go from there.
And every night you get breathalyzed, because it is, it is unacceptable to be drinking and be here, which is a good policy, very good policy. And if they suspect you of doing drugs, they will ask you to go take a drug test.
Homeless go to shelters anytime or in extreme weather conditions such as winter. Part-time and full-time volunteers are there to temporarily take care of their needs. These shelters include places such as emergency cold weather shelters and inexpensive boarding houses.
At these facilities, homeless are away from street dangers such as drugs, alcohol, and other homeless who take advantage of the people that are less fortunate than themselves.
Within the homeless community, you'll find that a lot of people have a piece of paper that they carry in their pocket, and that piece of paper will show the names and locations of other shelters in the surrounding area. What happens, and the reason they would need to carry that with them, is because, for example, at Martha's house, if you are an in-county resident, you're allowed to stay there up to 180 days, pending you follow all their rules and you're going through the processes that they are helping you go through. At the end of that 180 days, if you have not acquired a residence or a job or any of the things that you need to move forward, then you do have to go. So what they'll do is they will go on to the next shelter, and they will continue at the end of that time frame. They will go to the next one, and by the end of the rotation, enough time has passed that they can go back to the first one again. And that's really important within that homeless subculture, to always know where you're going. So what you find is people who are homeless may not even call themselves homeless because they feel like they've always got a place to stay. And they know the system. They know it really well, and they work it. It all goes into survival.
Statistics say that 40% of homeless people will sometimes go throughout their day without even a morsel of food. Churches try to open their arms to the homeless community through various services such as donating free food, gently used clothing, and offering their bathrooms for washing up whenever they can.
Que como, así que nada más vienes aquí y a otras partes para conseguir tu ropa y tu comida.
Bueno, como digo una vez más, tengo buena reputación de hace 10 años. Nunca he caído al bote, nunca he golpeado a nadie, y yo pienso que esas cosas me ayudan, y hay gente buena de iglesias que me da crédito, ¿verdad? Entonces conozco yo un lugar que por regular 5 días a la semana yo voy a comer en la mañana, que es una pura comida, pero trato de darla bien, y eso es todo, ya no voy a ningún lugar.
¿Cómo trata de conseguir dinero para vivir o para...?
Lo digo una vez más, tengo más de 7 años que yo no agarro dinero.
Without the means to support themselves financially, it leaves very few opportunities for finding ways to stay out of homelessness.
Immediate income sources include money from panhandling, which is illegal in many cities.
War vets make up 23% of the homeless population and receive checks from the government.
But unfortunately, this is not enough to keep them off the streets.
Once you get stuck out here, it's a curse. And I'm not being wrong, I'm not being simple, I'm just being honest. Look at these guys out there. He got a job. He got a job. But look what it led